JSC interviews on 2 Concourt posts are continuing in Sandton, Johannesburg. The acting Chief Justice Raymon Zondo is chairing the judicial interviews, which are expected to conclude on Friday. The reruns come after the Johannesburg High Court in August set aside the JSC's shortlist of judges after a legal challenge by the Council for the advancement of the South African Constitution. Now, for more on what has come out, we cross live now to our senior reporter, Tumaole Mohlaoli, who's covering that story for us. It is a lunch break now, Tumaole, but talk us through the line of questioning that we're seeing this time around, as well as the incumbents.
Well, in terms of basically the submissions that have been made by Judge R.S. Motopo, that was dealing with the issue of transformation. Now, the line of transformation has been the central theme that has been running here on this first day of the interviews for the Judicial Commission. So what is at the heart of transformation? What Judge Motopo was talking about is the issue that when you look at how justice seems to be delayed for those perhaps who don't have access to financial resources, which is the vast majority of South Africans. This is delayed because they have to then pay a lawyer who then has to instruct an advocate. And this just balloons judicial costs and makes them very, very inaccessible. Therefore, people are denied justice, and sometimes this is also leads to long delays, which again cut into people's bottom line. This has been a very important issue, and he says that they are trying, one of the things that he would want to do is to want to see this particular process whereby, lawyers, attorneys then get to basically instruct advocates, and the attorneys themselves are qualified and can stand in a court of law, especially the higher courts. You were talking about the high courts here all the way up to the Constitutional Court, and this would make things much, much more easier. And when we look at perhaps some of the other submissions, we heard from Judge Katri Silutwane. I hope I'm getting that right. But Judge Katri Silutwane was basically talking on the issue of the transformation of the judiciary when it comes to people in the LGBT community, as well as, of course, women. And this has been something that has been quite a talking point, a high talking point in the country. The fact that the transformation, not only because of color, but also because of women and the LGBT community, is something that needs to be fast-tracked and something that needs to be entrenched and spread out throughout the judiciary. She detailed the story where she was in an elevator, Tammy, of all places, and some of her colleagues, also those on the bench, were happily making very sexist comments without even considering that she was with them. And she goes to say that this is one of the issues that has to be dealt with in terms of representativity, as well as conscientizing the bar and conscientizing the judiciary in general, and transforming it and giving access to people from various groupings in and around South Africa. And this speaks to the letter of the Constitution of the land, which says that no one will be discriminated against based on race, color, sexual preference or creed.
I found this quite interesting, Tumaole, the comment about the briefing patterns, banks and commercial firms. Talk to us about those points that were brought up.
Yes, that was brought on by Justice Raymon Zondo. He's an acting Constitutional Court judge, and of course another one of those candidates that's being interviewed for the vacancies at the Apex Court of the Land. And when he was talking about the transformation and the issue of course, how the financial sector comes into play, this is the issue that he was saying that it really is problematic when it comes to accessing of the top legal minds, and saying that some of the top legal minds in the country, there is an exodus an exodus, if you will, of the legal minds, because the private sector, essentially, and the banks and other financial institutions who have got bottomless pockets, then target and headhunt these experienced and, of course, highly talented legal practitioners, and then get them onto their payroll, and as such, get them to basically make sure that the legal professions or legal services go in their favor, and that judgments and court cases then are basically won, and it's lopsided because no one else can afford to bankroll such minds. And he was saying that this has to be addressed as a matter of urgency, because not only does it hamstring the judiciary itself because of the brain drain, but it also then sets up the transformation agenda in favor of the financial institutions, because no one else can compete.
Tumaole Mohlaoli, thank you very much for that update. The Judicial Services Council continues with its interviews after their lunch break for 2 posts for judges of the Constitutional Court. We'll keep you updated throughout the course of today, indeed up until Friday, because the interviews will be going on until then.